Hiya, and welcome back to Tennis Ace, the game that teaches us that apparently it takes us 60 parts just to get through 2/3 of the game. We are hopefully going to be finished with Keisuke's route today. Because we're literally on day 36 of Keisuke's route, and that is the last day. So anyways, let's just hop right in. Hiya. Okay, which one? Maid outfit. Do we think it's a little much, or do we like it? The temptation to set up an AI chatbot is real. If you're seriously asking me about it, though...
Huh? Wait, you're fine talking about it now? You bounced back fast.
I'm trying to be open and honest here. You don't have to go out of your way to point it out. That makes me self-conscious.
Sorry. Carry on.
As I was saying, I don't think I dislike the idea.
Of Kobayashi in a maid outfit?
I guess that too. I think in general, while I think it would be a bit cute, maybe a maid outfit is a tad much, or not, I don't think I'll really know how I feel about it unless I were to see it.
So it's more like you think you like guys in cute clothes, so long as it's not too gaudy or overdone.
You know what? I guess that makes sense.
You guess? It almost sounds like I'm telling you how you should feel here.
I told you I'm not good with this sort of thing. I don't really think about it much.
It's okay. The coyness itself is very cute.
You're constantly looking for gaps in my armor so you can throw some more barbs at me, aren't you?
Of course. That's what makes it fun.
I groan as loudly as I can to show my displeasure, putting a hand on Keisuke's shoulder and gingerly pushing him away. Hard enough to make him move, but not so hard that I'll send him tumbling down. For some reason, the gesture seems to amuse him more than anything since he struggles to keep from snorting.
Okay, message received. I'll stop messing with you about it.
I do realize the specific wording, you know. About it. You'll still mess with me about other things.
But of course, for instance, how about we get back to our previous conversation? I believe you were pointing out which guys you thought were attractive.
What? We're back on that?
I'm not one to let my prey escape when I've got it dancing so beautifully within my palms, after all.
You sound like a bad anime villain.
What? I was trying to put on my best menacing aura.
If that's your best, then you're going to need to put some work into it.
Whatever. So it didn't work this time, so what? Just tell me who else you find attractive already.
Heh, lost your composure that quick, have you? Guess you're not the only one that can play at this game. But, there's still a few nice-looking guys going around, so I guess there's no harm in it. Besides, the sooner we get into a different conversation topic, the sooner I can stop thinking about guys in girly clothes. The thought is making me feel very weird. There's that Lynx in the half-zipped red tracksuit and the short shorts. They don't exactly leave much to the imagination. Just generic anime villain. Yeah.
Wow. That's the first thing you point out? Horny.
I'm a healthy adult guy. Leave me alone.
It sounds like we'll have to do something about that once we get back from the trip, won't we?
That's, moving on.
You're so easy.
You really delight in my pain, don't you? Is this red flag? It feels like it should be a red flag. What about you? If you're going to judge my taste so thoroughly, then you should at least have the decency to come out and tell me about your own.
Like I said, none of the guys really catch my eye.
So, what? Your eyes never wander?
I didn't say that they don't. For God's sake, Yoichi, read between the lines. I said that none of the guys catch my eye.
Oh. Oh!
There we go.
Right, sorry, I guess I completely forgot about you being bi.
I don't blame you. I'm not exactly the, hey bro, look at that chick over there, her rack is huge type of guy.
That's a very specific example.
I've met guys like that. It's exhausting. You can practically smell the testosterone, and not in a good way.
Is there ever a good way?
I can think of a few.
Keisuke leans perilously close to me, his nose and mouth just a few inches away from my neck, close enough that I can feel him brushing up against me. Right? The sudden gesture is enough to make me yelp and move away, suddenly feeling flushed and self-conscious.
I could get used to this.
Making me embarrassed in public is absolutely not allowed.
Aw, but where's the fun in that?
Can we stick to the topic at hand?
I didn't even know we had an actual topic at hand. I thought we were just talking about whatever.
Yeah, sure, but it's still your turn.
Fine, fine. So fussy. God.
Excuse you? I opened up about my interests. It's only fair for you to do the same. You're not going to leave me hanging like this.
Well, there aren't all that many people in general that are catching my attention right now, so would it be okay for me to just give you the broad strokes of what I like?
Sure, if you're okay with that. I'm not all that certain on what I'm attracted to at the moment, so I don't know if I'd be able to do the same.
Except for cute.
Right, except for cute. I will always be attracted to cute.
You'll say stuff like that, yet you'll still get all huffy at me for asking questions.
That's beside the point. Keisuke straightens himself up against the wall, clearing his throat and bringing a hand to his chin as if he were stuck in thought. He mulls over the question for a few seconds, even making that quiet sound that some people make when they're thinking.
Well, first of all, I feel like I should say that I tend to have a preference for girls over guys. Or at least I tend to find myself attracted to girls more often. Or maybe it's more like I tend to find more things about girls attractive than I do guys. I don't really know how to put it.
Should I be worried?
What? No, of course not. This doesn't mean I'm not 100% attracted to you. It's just that... I guess it's that I'm more selective when it comes to guys. Does that make sense?
Somewhat. Keep talking.
Well, when it comes to girls, my tastes are kind of broad. I suppose I like cute, girly girls just as much as the next guy. But I also like older, mature women a lot. And I suppose I do like them busty. I guess it makes me a boob guy.
Wow. My boyfriend is a boob guy. What a weird sentence to say out loud.
Come on, it's not that weird. Or at least I'm not that weird. This conversation is weird.
Relax, I'm messing with you.
Yeah, I guess that about sums it up, though. I'm not too picky when it comes to girls, and while I do have physical preferences, the personality is also really important to me, even if I feel like a cliche for saying it. After all, I wouldn't want to date someone I don't get along with, right? I'm sure that goes for everyone.
Of course.
As for guys, like I mentioned, I suppose I'm a little pickier.
This is going to be good.
Ugh, you're really making me feel put on the spot here.
No. Carry on. Describe your ideal guy to me. Let's see how many of those boxes I tick.
Now that's a downright scary thing to say.
Yeah, hiya. Not at all. I will admit, I'm enjoying making him sweat a little. So much of our relationship has been him messing with me. I have to take the opportunity to sneak in a few jabs whenever I have the chance. And right now he is wide open.
As I was saying, I tend to be pickier when it comes to men.
Oh, so now we're talking about men? A second ago we were talking about guys.
It's the same thing and you know it.
Are you sure? Are you absolutely sure?
Are you going to let me finish?
Okay, no need to get your panties in a bunch.
I don't wear... Ugh, whatever. Anyway, I tend to like different qualities in guys. I like guys who are fit. I don't necessarily need them to be muscular. But if they are, it's always a plus to be able to watch and touch. Other than that, a nice face is always good. A good ass? When it comes to guys, that's the area my eyes are drawn to the most. That and their chests. I do suppose I also have a thing for broad shoulders, but that is so specific that it's hard to even list. It's very low on my list of priorities. I also like guys who are very self-assured, confident in themselves without being cocky, capable, independent. Oh, and wit is also a big plus. I want someone who can keep up with me and trade barbs with the best of them. Being sweet and affectionate is fine. Hell, it's great when the time is right, but I won't lie. I like being able to trade witty insults and bantering. It keeps me on my toes, and it's a lot of fun.
Is that so? Well, based on that general description, I'd say that I fit the bill for a lot of those to a T.
I know. It's not a coincidence. Of course, that's only what drew me to you at first. My developing strong feelings for you has more to do with...
But you know what? So does Shoichi. Hell, I'd say that description fits you guys' friendship even better than it does you and me.
With the fact that you and I click really well, and you make me feel good about myself.
Oh, you just carried on saying what you were going to say? No acknowledgement of my point in Shoichi, not even to deny it?
I'm innocent.
Of what? I didn't accuse you of anything. Oh dear, did I break you? Hello? I snicker, waving my hand in front of Keisuke's face to mess with him, to which he immediately pushes my hand away.
That's mean.
What? How am I mean? It's not my fault your description fits Shoichi so well.
You know I used to have a crush on him. Bringing it up all of a sudden like that is mean.
Aw, I thought you liked too. What was it said? Trade barbs with the best of them? I'm only giving you what you want.
It was a mistake to enter into this conversation.
Aw, come on, don't be like that. I'm just messing with you. It's not a problem.
You're going to get mad at me over it? You're not going to get mad at me over it?
What? Over Shoichi and I fitting your description of the kind of guy you like? No, you said it yourself. That is only what made you initially interested in me. You developing feelings involved way more than that, right?
Right.
Although...
Oh no.
Just for the sake of full disclosure, are there any more of our friends that you've crushed on or feel attracted to?
What? Absolutely not!
Really? Not even Saya? I mean, I know she's not a busty girl, but you and her are really close friends, and she definitely has a lot of lip on her. Have you never thought about it?
God, no, not even for a second. She would eat me alive.
I don't disagree.
The mere idea of entering a relationship with Mizuguchi-san fills me with nothing but fear and dread. Mostly dread. I don't think I'd survive. There is no more unappealing thought in the world to me at the moment.
Damn. Harsh.
I value my physical and mental well-being, both of which would be at risk in such a situation.
Saya-chan is not that bad. She's just a little bossy and maybe a tad demanding. Some guys find girls like that cute, though. Morisaki-senpai did. No one would survive except Morisaki, apparently.
Yeah, no. If not my physical health, then at least my dignity would be in danger.
You're so dramatic.
Blech.
Eloquent. I could tease him a little more, but I decided to ease up on the poor guy. If I keep pushing, I could very well fry Keisuke's brain, and while the idea sounds funny, today really isn't the day for it. I wouldn't want to get him so in his head that he locks up and can't perform later today. Instead, I place a hand on his shoulder, giving him a gentle squeeze before moving my hand down to his lower back, trying to give him a few encouraging rubs.
You're having way too much fun messing with me.
Tit for tat.
I should have known to stay away from that topic.
It wasn't that bad. Now we know more about each other. How can that be a bad thing?
You have a lot more ammunition to use against me. That's how it's a bad thing.
I hereby swear to use my ammunition responsibly.
That's not exactly encouraging, you know.
Disagree. I feel very encouraged.
You ass.
You do seem to really like mine.
What?
Remember, you said that you really like guys' asses. Something about it being the place your eyes get drawn to the most.
That doesn't mean I was talking about yours.
Oh, so my ass isn't nice? You don't like it as much?
No! That's not what I meant. Your ass is... It's fine.
Just fine? Damn. Cold.
It's a good ass. It's a great ass. Now leave me alone.
Alright. Settle down. Jeez, no need to get so worked up.
Ugh. I can feel my blood pressure rising.
Pretty sure that's just the blood rushing to your face. You're blushing so hard that you look like a neon sign.
Shut.
Aye. Jeez. Damn you, Ichi. That's violent. I walked to a nearby trash can, tossing my empty coffee inside and while taking advantage of that moment to keep my back turned to Keisuke so I can recompose myself for a bit before I turn around again. I'm well aware that the look on my face would just piss him off. I'm barely managing to keep myself from laughing, so I'm sure I must have the stupidest grin right about now.
It seems you're done at least.
Oh, you mean with my coffee? Yeah, I'm done.
Then we should get going. We wouldn't want to dawdle outside for too long. We'll miss breakfast.
You mean we're already heading back?
Well, I certainly would have liked to exercise a little more. We've wasted enough time as it is. We can't afford to mess with our schedule just because I'm feeling a tad anxious.
That's a good point. We wouldn't want to be late since that would mess up with the schedule for everyone, not just the two of us. At the very least, it should be a bit easier for him to control his emotions now. Being able to remain calm and collected is one of the most important parts of competitions, especially when traveling. While it may seem understated, the amount of stress endured while playing away from a familiar area cannot be ignored. Stress can build up little by little, so slowly that you don't notice it at first until it eventually becomes overwhelming. If a player can't do a good job of recognizing their stress levels and managing it in a healthy way, they'll probably self-destruct. Sadly, it's not that uncommon to see professional players have incredibly public meltdowns. It tends to be more common among younger players, and even more so those that were raised by tennis parents, but the effects can usually be catastrophic for one's career. The The fact that Keisuke is taking the initiative and recognizing and dealing with his stress is already a good sign. Of course, there's no point to me saying it outright. That sort of thing is a skill that everyone needs to develop on their own. A player really wouldn't have much of a future if they can't even tell when they're stressed or when they're playing suboptimally. Support staff exists to help with it, but you have to be able to at least do the bare minimum yourself. Self-awareness is absolutely a requirement to become a professional in any sport. But the main concern for me right now is, are you still feeling anxious? You seem to be doing much better now.
Maybe I am. Your company tends to make me feel better most of the time.
Don't say something so embarrassing out of nowhere.
What? You don't seem to mind. With that huge dopey smile on your face and everything.
You can't expect me not to smile when you say something like that.
Then you get used to it. I'm not going anywhere.
Is that a promise?
As close to one as can be. Why? You think I'm gonna leave you?
I don't know. This is my first real relationship, and we've only been dating for a little while. I don't know much about this kind of thing. It can't be this easy, can it?
Probably not.
That's not something I'd expect you to smile while saying.
Yuichi, relationships are hard. Regardless of which kind of relationship, be it family, friends, none of it is easy. No one knows that as well as I do. If you entered into a relationship with me expecting everything to be easy, then you are a fool. I'm here for the difficult, annoying times, not just the good ones. Isn't that to be expected?
Man, you're a serious smooth talker, aren't you? If you talked more openly like this to other people, I'm 100% sure you'd have a row of admirers of your own, you know. I guess that makes sense. Sorry.
And there goes the dopey smile again.
Don't mock me. I'll pull on your ears.
Okay, I'll behave. Please stay away from my ears.
They're kind of cute, though, so I make no promises.
That's a little terrifying, don't you think?
It's awfully tempting.
Yuichi, that look on your face is scaring me a little bit.
Good. Balance has been restored. I'm not letting you getting one over me all the time. You're my junior, so I have to put you in your place whenever I can. We should get going, though. If we keep goofing off like this, we'll never get back to the hotel.
Yes, I was thinking the same thing.
Keisuke looks back at me for a second, flashing me a grin before taking off ahead of me with no warning. What are you doing?
Might as well make it interesting, right?
After a moment's hesitation, I take off after the hare that is now running ahead of me while laughing. That's so dirty! You're playing dirty!
We never settled on rules, so how could I be breaking them?
Keisuke laughs in a way that I don't remember ever seeing him before the two of us began dating. When I think about it, I've seen so many new sides of his after we got together. I never knew Keisuke could be this sweet and thoughtful before we started dating. Truth be told, I saw him as my uptight, overly formal junior for most of the time we've known each other. To think that he can now make me feel all these unfamiliar things, that thought alone makes my chest feel tight. Be it good or bad, I've learned so many new things about Keisuke as of late, and yet, the number one anxiety plaguing my mind recently has been about Keisuke's family situation, as well as my one outburst incident. Seeing Keisuke's situation was like a wake-up call. It forced me to reevaluate my naive perspective on family and my tendency to always expect good from other people. At the same time, the way I reacted to his attempt to spare me from dealing with it made me feel scared of myself, and afraid that Keisuke would eventually realize he could do better than me. And yet, at every step, he always makes sure to comfort me and make me feel secure in the subtlest ways. Is this what it feels like to be cherished? Ugh, I feel so sappy and ridiculous thinking about all these things. We've only been dating for a short time, too. I'm sure if anyone knew the kinds of things I'm thinking of, they'd make fun of me for my puppy love.
Is that?
Unfortunately, due to my complete distraction, I don't notice Keikun coming to a stop right in front of me, ending up colliding against his back.
Ow! What's the big idea?
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
No kidding.
But as I was saying, isn't that Yuichi-san? As Keisuke jutted his chin towards something to try and get my attention, the sound of a familiar voice coming from the same direction immediately made me stand up straight as if I'd just been doused with a bucket of ice-cold water. It was only then that I realized we'd stopped right in front of a convenience store, and who had been coming out of it at that very moment other than Tanabe.
Geh?
The red panda spotted us, flashing an amiable smile and walking toward us with a plastic bag in his left hand. Good morning. Fancy meeting you here. Yeah, good morning. Talk about a coincidence. And good morning to you too, Rujiharu-kun. I believe this is the first time we've properly met.
Oh, good morning. You know my name?
Mm-hmm. I make it a habit to learn about those that interest me.
I interest you?
Tanabe-kun can be a bit meticulous when it comes to learning about potential rivals. You are correct. even if that is a mildly unflattering way of putting it.
Whoa.
Still, it's been a while. Are you doing well? Yeah, I'm okay. Last year of school is a bit more annoying than usual, but other than that, it's the same as always. Are you sure of that? You seem a little different. And I'm not just talking about your face being uncharacteristically stiff right now. My face?
Now that he's mentioned it, your face is a bit stiff. Is everything okay?
Of course! Why wouldn't I be okay?
Yuichi?
Crap, I wasn't expecting to find Tanabe-kun here. I can usually steal myself a little bit during competition since I expect to see him there, but this is something else entirely. Talking to him like this feels so awkward. Oh, by the way, I watched a recording of your match against Kokonose-kun back in April. I was quite impressed. You were? Of course. Kokonose-kun has been on my radar since last year as a potential rival that I looked forward to facing. What I didn't expect, however, was your performance in that match. Suffice to say that I was quite happy to see a bit of the old Yuichi-san once again. For the first time in years, I felt excited once again. I'm flattered? Are you sure? Your face doesn't quite look it. I'm happy to hear you say that. You have no idea how happy I am about it, but also, how the hell am I supposed to react? I just don't know what to say. Fair enough. Now that I think of it, you've never been great at handling praise and the likes. My apologies. I shouldn't have put you on the spot like that.
Huh. Yeah, I guess that's true. He really doesn't handle praise all that well. It's not something too many people know without getting close to him, though.
I have to say, however, that I'm surprised to see you out here at all. Yeah. Hiya. I guess you're right about that.
Surprised? Why would you be surprised?
Because unless he's changed a great deal in the last few years, he used to be the complete opposite of a morning person. Why, I remember I had to basically drag him for morning jogs with me when we were in middle school, and he would be barely awake and grumpy the whole time.
You went on morning jogs?
Yeah, a few times, I guess. Now that I think about it, I don't think I ever went in depth about what my relationship with Tanabe-kun was like in front of Keisuke. Gah. I can't handle the way he's staring at me right now. It feels like he's going to bore a hole into the back of my head with his eyes. At one point, I'd make a deal with him just to make him come with me.
A deal?
Oh, wow, I don't remember that at all. Did we really do that? Of course we did. You made me agree to go to the arcades with you in exchange for waking up early to jog.
Oh, is that so?
Oh boy, all hints of amusement have completely disappeared from Keisuke's face entirely. Why do I feel like I can suddenly hear boss music? Is something wrong, Uchiharu-kun? You've had this look on your face for a little while now. Is all the reminiscing boring you?
Not at all. I just didn't know there was so much reminiscing to be done. You seem to know Yuichi-san quite well.
Huh? Well, of course I do. We have been friends for... As soon as the words leaves his lips, Tanabe blinks in a few times as if realizing something. His face contorts into a heavy frown, with his eyebrows knitted tightly together and twitching unnoticeably. Oh, right, I got so caught up reminiscing that I forgot that. I mean, I suppose it's only natural for you not to be aware since you weren't a friend of his at the time as far as I'm aware.
Oh?
Oh boy, are we really getting into that? It's not really a big deal, we don't need to talk about it.
You saying it like that just makes it sound like there's something to talk about.
I forgot to silence my phone. Tanabe's eyes dart between Keisuke and I, from the hair's confusion to my obvious discomfort, and he sighs, his face contorting into a regretful smile, the kind of which I hadn't seen on him in a long time. Sorry, Yuichi-san, I spoke out of turn. What? You're fine, don't worry about it.
Yuichi, what's going on?
That's not... We don't need to get into this right now.
Get into what?
Gah, please, not this. Not right now. I'm not prepared to have this conversation, especially now with Tanabe-kun standing right here. I've made things awkward, haven't I? That's not...
Yes.
Keisuke! I thought so. I'm really sorry. I really shouldn't speak so casually about it, considering this current situation is my fault in the first place. Wait. What? Your fault in the first place? What's that supposed to... I'll leave you two alone. I'm sorry for calling out and interrupting your morning. Wait, Tana...
Later.
Hydration. Tanabe awkwardly bids us goodbye with a quick nod and a bow, walking away in the opposite direction without looking back even once. I'm left standing in shock, not knowing what to think or how to react to what just happened. That entire conversation had my brain short-circuiting. So many things I didn't expect or understand happen in quick succession, and I... Why did you do that? As soon as the words leave my lips, I can tell that I messed it up. I don't even have to see the look on Keisuke's face shift for me to realize it. I just do.
Because I was trying to get you out of an uncomfortable situation. Isn't that obvious?
Yeah, well, you didn't have to be so harsh on him.
Telling the truth is being harsh? He asked a question.
You didn't have to do that.
You had your eyes fixed on either your feet or the far-off distance the whole time during that conversation. Your smile wouldn't reach your eyes, and the corners of your mouth kept twitching over and over. It was quite clear you were uncomfortable.
I appreciate the concern, but I wasn't uncomfortable. I was nervous. If anything, the only thing making me uncomfortable is seeing your face scrunching up more and more as the conversation went on.
Nervous why?
Because I could see the look on your face.
My face? What about my face?
Please, you stopped just short of growling at him like an angry dog. You were glaring at us the whole time, and you got more and more scrunchy as the conversation went along. You looked pissed. Oh, okay.
What? I'm not pissed.
Then tell that to your face.
Okay,
Keisuke stops himself mid-sentence, instead choosing to take a deep breath and calm himself. After doing it a few times, he opens his eyes to look straight at me. Although it lasts only a second before his gaze soon shifts somewhere else once again.
I'm not mad or anything, I promise. I was frustrated, I guess. I was supposed to be hanging out with my boyfriend, and we were having such a good time too, and then all of a sudden you two were talking about all these things I didn't know about? Maybe I was a little bit bitter since I was feeling left out of the conversation. But I swear, as soon as I noticed how off you were acting, the only thing in my mouth was trying to end things as soon as possible because I didn't want you to feel uncomfortable.
From where I was standing, you looked a little jealous. That's what. But I don't want to try to call Keisuke out on it or anything. First of all, I have no proof. Second of all, I rather at least try to trust him. Keisuke isn't the type to just lie to me like that. Especially about something so small. It'd be petty. Okay, can we just head back to the hotel now?
Wait, first things first, can you explain what that whole thing was about?
Huh?
There we go again. That look is what I'm talking about. You had that look on your face the whole time while Tanabe-san was around.
That's not...
Come on, Yuichi, it's not a big deal. Can you just tell me already?
Ugh, do I really have to get into this right now? There's no way for me to have this conversation without things being incredibly stiff and awkward. I'm already so confused about this whole situation after seeing the way Tanabe was acting. For the last few years, he would barely say 2 words to me. We'd at most make polite conversation right before our matches, only for him to get terse with me again after it. And the few times we've talked outside of the court when coming across each other during competitions, he was always overly polite and detached. Seeing him suddenly going out of his way to talk to me, making conversation as if we were suddenly great friends again, reminiscing, apologizing? What is going on here?
Yuichi-san?
Sorry, I was thinking the whole thing over.
Seriously, what's going on?
Which one? Okay. Ugh, I can't deal with this right now. It's too much of a headache. I exhale slowly, which unfortunately makes it come out sounding more like a sigh while rubbing the bridge of my nose. That seems to set Keisuke's mind wandering somewhere. He looks away from me, shifting uncomfortably on his feet.
Yuichi?
Look, Keikun, I'll tell you this later, okay?
Huh? You're going to avoid the...
I'm not avoiding anything. Nope, sorry, Keikun. I know this must be frustrating for you, but I really don't have the mental fortitude to handle this conversation right now. As it is, my thoughts are already a whirlwind of confusion. There's no way I can make sense of it while also trying to explain things to you. Besides, I can really explain my relationship with Tanabe to you when I'm not even sure of where we're at. Tanabe-kun's attitude today was a huge deviation from the norm. The sudden friendliness and everything is, well, it's nice, but also very confusing. So I just don't have an answer I can give you right now. I get that you want an answer, and I'm not saying I won't give you one, but I really can't get into it right now. Seeing Tanabe-kun acting like that was super confusing for me. I'm not sure what to think about it in the first place. I need to make sense of my thoughts and untangle all of this before I can even hope to give you a proper answer.
Well, that sucks.
I don't know why, but seeing the usually overly polite and composed Keisuke doing the equivalent of pouting like that is very funny for some reason.
You're laughing at me now?
I'm sorry, I promise it's not on purpose. The way you phrased that just made me chuckle, that's all. I'm going to answer your questions as soon as I have a proper answer to give you, okay? I promise. Can you just give me some time to make sense of things first?
Fine, but I'll hold you to that, okay?
Of course. I take the lead in walking us back to the hotel. After pondering things for a few seconds, Keisuke begins to follow suit behind me, jogging a little to catch up with me until we're standing shoulder to shoulder. I stealthily reach behind him, placing my hand on his lower back and rubbing it gently. As soon as he feels me doing so, Keisuke exhales, letting me see the bundle of tension he'd been holding slowly melt away from his posture.
Still, I get that you all but told me that there is something to tell here, right? If there was nothing going on, you would have just said so.
Yeah, I know, and you're right. There is a story to tell here. It's just not in the right frame of mind to get into it right now.
Is it bad?
What did I just say?
I can't help it. I'm anxious and impatient when it comes to this kind of thing.
So I've noticed. If I didn't know you any better, I might assume you're feeling jealous, or at the very least insecure.
What? Of course not. Don't be absurd. I don't really care about what the story is one way or another. It changes nothing, but I do deserve to be informed about it.
Entitled much?
What? I'm not...
It was a joke. You're right. You do deserve to know. You're my boyfriend, after all. Keisuke sputters, shaking his head in frustration. The side of his nostrils flaring over and over is a little funny to see. When he places a hand on my shoulder and pushes me away from him, I lose whatever shred of self-control I still have left, breaking into laughter almost immediately.
You're ridiculous. Here I'm trying to have a serious conversation, and you keep winding me up.
Hey, it's not my fault that you make it so easy.
Yeah, whatever. Enjoy it while you can. Payback's a bitch.
Is that so? Then I can't wait for it. Give me your best, big ears.
You're an idiot.
Guilty as charged. Anything else?
Wait, no, don't agree to that. You're supposed to say you're not an idiot here.
I am? But I think you're right. I am an idiot.
No, you're not.
When Keisuke playfully punches my shoulder again this time, he doesn't push me away. Instead, he leans in closer to me, touching the sides of his hand to mine. We continue jogging around and flirting like this for the rest of the way to the hotel. And at some point, Keisuke wraps his pinky finger around mine. It might seem like a small gesture, but it's enough to dispel most of the storm clouds hanging over my head and making me feel light once again. A few hours later, Sai-chan's last match of the day is almost coming to an end. Thankfully, both of mine didn't take all too long, so I was able to watch most of it without a problem. Once Sai-chan finishes things up here, Keisuke will be the only one that still has a match to play. Which is probably why. Seems like Sai-chan is in the bag. One more game to go.
Yep.
I feel a little bad for the girl playing against Mizuguchi-san. She seems so sad.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can really do about it. If you worry about how the other person is going to feel about losing, you'll never be able to compete. I know.
That's right.
Dude, are you even hearing what we're saying? And what's up with your face?
Uh-huh.
Shoichi pokes the back of Keisuke's head, snapping him back to reality. The hare looks around confused before finally realizing what's going on.
Oh, sorry, I was thinking about something else. I might have been answering on automatic.
No shit. Is everything okay, Keisuke-san?
Yeah, it's fine. It's just... Mizuguchi-san's match ending just means we are closer and closer to my own match against that annoying, overbearing, yapping, childish...
Okay, that's a bit much, don't you think?
Sorry, weird mood. What I meant to say is that once Mizuguchi-san's match ends, there's nothing between me and my own match. I'm next after her.
Yeah, no shit. That's how time works.
Screw you, Yurata.
Wow, aggressive today, are we? Could you not wind him up, please? Today's a very tense enough day as is. Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Whatever.
You'll be fine, Keisuke. What happened to all the confidence you had yesterday when we were talking about it?
Same place that baseless confidence always goes. It washed down the river as soon as the adrenaline settled down and reason returned to my brain.
That's a very poetic way of saying you've lost your nerve.
You want to run that by me again?
Seriously, Yuichi, you just got on my case for needling him. I have special permission. How so?
Not important right now.
I'm just trying to cheer you up a little. You can't be all doom and gloom about it. If you step out into the court like that, you're only screwing yourself over.
You don't think I know that? Being aware means nothing if you can't find a way to deal with it, though.
Buck up.
It would do you some good to remember that you and I share a room, you know.
Well, not if you lose and drop out of the competition. In that case, I'll be sleeping alone tonight. My words elicited an immediate gasp from everyone else. Aki and Jun especially. Those who were looking at me like I just kicked a puppy or something.
Aniki!
Dude, seriously, that's low, even if you're trying to get him to snap out of it. Excuse me, I happen to still remember the crap you said to Keisuke back during the prefecturals after he lost to Yuya-kun. That was low. Hey, it worked, didn't it? That's a really mean thing to say, Yuichi-san. I'm trying to...
Can all of you please shut up?
What, Case...
Look, Mizuguchi-san's match just finished.
As soon as Keisuke points it out, we all look towards Sai's court, finally noticing that we'd completely missed out on the final game of the set since it went by so fast. Sorry, And he walked away before I had a chance to say anything else. Great. His attempt at cheering him up sure failed spectacularly, huh? But wait a second, Keisuke-san! Jeez, what bit him this morning? Well, let's not get into that, shall we? We quickly catch up with Keisuke, finding him already talking to Saya-chan on the exit to her court. Couldn't you have waited for us?
Your constant nagging was getting on my nerves, so I removed myself from the situation.
Kei-chan, it's fine. Once you get out there, take the warm-up rallies to get all your tension out. Hit the ball as hard as you can or whatever. Get those nerves up before the match starts.
Yeah.
By the way, congratulations on your match, Sayane. Yeah, you really showed them who's boss. Thanks, but it's not that big of a deal. Pretty sure those are your opponent's parents right next to us, so I'd avoid saying stuff like that out loud. Oh, oops. Better keep my trap shut. Probably for the best. Hey, would you look at that? Looks like a certain someone can smile after all.
Of course I can smile. Don't be an ass.
I'm not being an ass. I'm just glad to see you smiling again.
Me being nervous doesn't make me incapable of smiling.
Whatever you say. I just know that I haven't seen you smile once since I got here. To be fair, you didn't show up for the morning matches. You've barely been here for a couple hours. Whose side are you on?
Now that makes me smile.
Bite me.
You sure do love to ask me to.
Not literal.
Keep telling yourself that.
Listen, I have to go to inform them of my match results. Do you know how the match before yours is going? Any idea how long until it's your turn?
A few more minutes, probably.
How do you know that?
I don't for sure, but I'm theorizing based on the matchup.
You can't know that for sure. Pretty sure everyone that gets to the quarterfinals is a skilled player. You don't see as many one-sided matches as you do in the early stages of the competition. Kinda ironic to be saying that after the match we just watched, don't you think? Everyone knows that Sai-chan is the exception to the rule. She's the exception to most. Even though that sounds like a compliment, I feel like I should be offended by it. Of course not. It was a compliment. I somehow doubt it. Sai-chan, your match results? Oh, right, I'll be right back. Sai-chan quickly excuses herself, power walking away toward the front desk to report the results of her match. Even though she's trying to play it cool, the spring in her step was noticeable to anyone that had eyes, and the sight of it made me smile.
It's a good thing she's back in her usual mood. She scared me this morning.
Haha, looks like we were thinking the same thing. She scared you? How so? Did something happen this morning?
When we got back to the hotel after our morning jog, she was borderline catatonic on the couch. The girls were poking her, trying to get her attention, but she only responded with grunts and the likes.
What? What happened to get her like that?
I don't know. She wouldn't say a word. She wouldn't even move despite the poking. I kept trying to talk to her and snap her out of it, but she only made random sounds every now and then. And then, when Coach showed up and said it was time for breakfast, she got up like nothing had happened, and then acted like the rest of us were crazy when we asked her about what happened. Keisuke launches into an in-depth description of the scene we walked into this morning, and thanks to it, it becomes clear that our group is separated into two very distinct camps. Those that have known Sai for a long time and those that haven't. While Keisuke is frowning as he explains it, and Jun is hanging onto his every word with clear concern, Shoichi and Aki are clearly unmoved. So that's what it was. It's been a while. You guys aren't worried by that? It doesn't sound like Mizuguchi-san at all. Yuichi reacted the same way this morning. I asked him to help me get Mizuguchi-san off the couch, but he said that she'd bounce back on her own eventually and left to go have breakfast.
From the description, it sounds like you were introduced to Sai as emo mode.
Emo mode?
Mm-hmm. It's rare. Usually happens if there's no one around to coddle her when she's in needy Saya mode. Then she sulks a lot and gets into emo mode. Think of it like a computer freezing. Nothing happens no matter how much you click the cursor or press the buttons. You have to wait for it to start responding or reboot it on your own. And, well, you can't quite reboot a person, so there's nothing to do other than wait for it to pass on its own. That doesn't sound real. It used to be a lot more common when I was 5 or 6. Barely remember stuff from that far back, but I still have vivid memories of emo mode Cyane. Such an unusual scene after all.
Is this why you weren't surprised this morning?
Yep, if we'd have gotten back to the hotel in time to deal with her when she was in her needy mode, that'd have been one thing. Once she slips into her emo mode, there's no real getting through to her. Heh.
And you couldn't have told me this instead of leaving me to worry?
I was hungry! The three of us are more or less used to this kind of thing, so sometimes it's easy to forget how completely alien it must be to you guys. Yeah, come to think of it, how long has it been since I saw Needy Saya last? Let alone Emo Saya. 3 years at least. That sounds about right. That doesn't sound like the kind of thing you should want to have become normalized. Sai's weird, none of that is news. I don't know why you guys are surprised.
Oh, there is weird, and then there's weird.
I suppose. Halfway through our little weird conversation, a sudden loud chime cuts through the banter. Keisuke getting everyone's attention, quickly getting everyone's attention to the source of it, Keisuke's bag. Is that? Keisuke quickly unzips the bag, digging his hand inside and pulling out his phone. He quickly unlocks it as the screen promptly comes to life. Hair taps on it a few times before storing it away again. He closes his eyes, taking a deep breath. The meaning of it isn't lost on the rest of us.
It's time.
Sai-chan isn't back yet. Do you think there's time for us to wait?
Ordinarily, I would say yes since they're still preparing the court, but...
You want to go wait inside so you can focus, right?
It's an important match. I can't afford to mess it up.
I get it. We'll walk with you. With a nod, Keisuke quickly spins around and starts walking toward his court. The four of us silently follow after him. Behind me, Aki wastes no time in pulling out his phone and writing a quick message to Saya-chan, letting her know what is going on. The jovial mood that had been established until just a little while ago is completely gone, taken over by an overwhelming feeling of tension in its place. It already feels a tad suffocating for me since I know how important this is for Keisuke, not to mention how badly I want to have the opportunity to play against him in an official tournament match before the end of my last year. If it's this bad for me, I can't begin to imagine how Keisuke must be feeling. We follow him as far as we can go. Once we reach the opening on the fence for him to walk inside, Keisuke turns around to face us once again. Good luck out there. You've been working your ass off in practice and have improved so much. I'm sure you'll do great. Yeah, good luck, Urushihara. Knock him dead. Not literally, of course. Good luck, Keisuke-san. Yeah, good luck.
Thank you, everyone.
Keisuke's eyes sweep through the four of us, lingering for a moment on each one as he quickly thanks us for the encouragement. When his eyes fall on me, Keisuke looks right into my eyes. We both stare at each other in silence for what feels like ages. Suddenly makes me forget everyone around me, making it feel as if Keisuke and I are the only ones in this entire arena right now. I don't know what he's thinking right now, but I do know I don't want to be the one to cut off this moment.
See you in the semifinals tomorrow.
Caught by surprise by sudden confidence, I fail to think of a response fast enough before Keisuke disappears inside, walking toward the bench next to his court and sitting down to wait for the match to officially begin. Whoa, Urushihara seemed really confident there all of a sudden. Yeah, he really did. Rapidly approaching footsteps quickly snap my attention away from Keisuke's sitting figure as I look around to spot Saya running to us in a rush. Did he already go inside? Yeah, he just left. Damn it! Couldn't he have waited for me? It sounds like he really needed the time to himself to focus, Sayane. Boo! I wanted to wish him good luck. He's been looking so nervous all day, so I wanted to cheer him up. Don't worry, he looked plenty confident in himself when he left. Really? Yep, I think he's doing okay now. Thank God. After a few more minutes of the officials wiping the court clean, making sure there are no wet or slippery spots and doing a final check of the net, it finally is time for the players to be called in. Keisuke and Yuya-kun share what seems to be a very curt greeting before the two quickly take their places on the court to start warming up before the match can officially begin. The two players begin hitting the ball back and forth after doing their basic warm-ups. Keisuke is moving a lot more smoothly than usual. He is a player whose performance is even more affected by his mental state than usual, so I guess I shouldn't be surprised considering how confident he seemed before heading inside. We had suggested he hit the ball extra hard while warming up to work out any stress or nervousness, but just from watching him move, I can already tell that won't be a problem. Yuya-kun, on the other hand, seems ever so slightly more stiff than I remembered. Could it be that he's nervous? I don't think he even knew the meaning of the word. Do you have any thoughts on this matchup, Yuichi? No knows Urushihara's skills as well as you do, and you've played against his opponent before. What are his odds? I can't say for sure. Keisuke has improved so much over the last couple months that I don't even recognize him anymore. His skills were always good, but he tended to let the pressure get to him way too much and couldn't perform his best. But Yuya-kun is unpredictable. He can't really accurately judge his skill level since he adapts really quickly to his opponents. Yeah, I remembered him being the intuitive type. Might be a bad matchup for Kei-kun. What? Why? Keisuke is the type to watch his opponents closely and to learn their habits, tendencies, and strengths. From that, he devises strategies to take advantage of those and get himself the win. The problem is, you can't really use logic like that against an opponent that doesn't follow any kind of logical pattern. I don't know, while it's true that instinctual players are more unpredictable, it also means that they don't tend to think their moves or strategies through as much. If he's constantly moving on instinct, that means he's more likely to repeat the same patterns. So what I'm taking from this is that neither of you have any idea who's most likely to win here. Shoichi's question causes Sai, Aki, and I to share a glance among ourselves, shifting uncomfortably on our feet. Unfortunately, Shoichi did hit the nail right on the head. There's just no way to predict what is going to happen. Of course, as both his boyfriend and his practice partner, I believe in Keisuke above all else. I really want him to win, but once they're done warming up, the two players walk up to the net once again so they can do the coin toss that will decide the serving order. I can't really make out what they're saying when they're this far, but it seems like Keisuke won the toss. Kei-kun won the toss. Unsurprisingly, at least to some, he chooses to let Yuya-kun serve first. Saya is all like, destroy him. There are few murmurs among the crowd, and I can even spot the Akita raising an eyebrow at his decision, but those of us who know him can only half-heartedly smile at it. There's that nasty habit of his again. Yeah, I really wish he'd stop doing that. I shake my head, unconsciously letting out a throaty chuckle. Having played against Kei-kun more times than anyone else, I'm more than familiar with that habit of his by now. If he hasn't played against someone much before, he'll let them serve so he can study their habits and come up with a counter strategy to deal with them. And if he has played enough to have their mannerisms and tics memorized, he'll still let them serve first so he can immediately try to break their serve. Having your serve broken can be incredibly stressful, especially if it's the very first serve of the match. It sets the pace for the rest of the game and can throw someone majorly out of it. Kei-kun has a bit of a nasty streak on him considering how often he'll try to resort to mind games, but I also understand he's just trying to do whatever he can to win. The Hare and the Akita take their respective positions in the court. Yuya-kun pulls a ball out of his pocket, bouncing it up and down a few times before finally looking up. As soon as the two lock eyes, I instinctively hold my breath. There's that brief moment where no one moves. They merely watch each other for several seconds of pure agony before the Akita finally gets into motion. He tosses the ball high into the air before swinging the racket hard to meet it. The impact echoes loudly as the ball darts to Kei-kun's side of the court. I can easily imagine a serve that fast catching most players by surprise, but maybe because he's practiced with me so much, Kei-kun doesn't hesitate for even a second. Keisuke accurately judges where the ball will land, dashing there without wasting a second step, managing to get to it just in time to slice it back cleanly to the other side. And so it begins. Kei-kun begins a strategy of making Yuya-kun run back and forth, mixing in different types of spin, angles, and tight placements to make him struggle. I blink several times, even rubbing my eyes to make sure I'm not imagining things. Instead of hanging back and letting Yuya-kun go wild, Keisuke seems to be moving to suppress him from the get-go, launching a meticulous offensive that gives the Akita no wiggle room to work with. It's quickly apparent just how effective it is, too. Whenever Yuya-kun gets used to the back-and-forth rhythm, Keisuke will hit the ball into the same spot twice in a row, forcing the Akita to double back to the place he just moved away from and wasting precious seconds. This time, Kei-kun uses the full length of the court, hitting the ball short after making Yuya-kun move far back with topspin shots. Before long, the cocky grin on Yuya-kun's face is replaced by a tight frown as he pants and groans from the effort in between each shot. With someone like Yuya-kun, you really need to strike fast and hard. If you let the match drag on, he's going to start getting used to you, and his explosive growth will see him catching up before you know it. Of course I know that, and I know that Keisuke knows it too, but still, this is so unlike him. Maybe because he's seen it happen before, Kei-kun goes for a much more aggressive style than usual, staying on the offensive the whole time. He managed to successfully break Yuya-kun's first serve, but even that is enough to make the Hare relax. He continues to press his advantage almost relentlessly so, to the point that I begin to feel sorry for the Akita. Is that really Urushihara? Jesus, I've never seen him have such a commanding lead on a match before. I know, right? Even against low-ranked opponents, that habit of his is watching and observing, always making things look uncomfortably close. What's going on here? Aniki, did you do this? Oh, because Yuichi is a hyper-aggressive player and he's been Keisuke-san's training partner for months now. I get it, it makes sense. I mean, I would love if that were the case. God knows I did criticize Keisuke a lot of times for that bad habit of his, but he never listened to me until now. I don't think him suddenly deciding to go on the offensive is my doing. This is all Keisuke right there. Huh. That's some really good judgment from Urushihara. Gotta say, I'm impressed. Don't just relax yet. Look at Kei-kun's face. He's being unusually aggressive, but he's still watching the other guy closely. He's waiting. Waiting? For Kokonose to catch up, I think. That was his experience with the last match, after all. Oh! Yeah, I think that's the case, too. As much as I hope Yuya-kun struggles to get used to this, reality isn't as nice. I know for a fact that he'll get used to this rhythm and will start improving to deal with it. But no matter how good you become at dealing with it, the fact of the matter is that it's a deeply uncomfortable way to play tennis. People like Yuya-kun and I like to rely on instinct, to move however feels comfortable and to go with the flow. Against someone who is constantly doing everything to keep you from getting into that rhythm, it can feel excruciatingly uncomfortable, and Keikun is no doubt counting on that discomfort to psych Yuya out. Game Urushihara 5-2. I'm starting to feel a little silly for having worried. He's destroying that guy. Didn't you say something about this being a bad matchup for Keisuke-san because the other guy's international or whatever? Intuitive. And yeah, Keikun definitely caught me by surprise with the sudden aggressive start, but don't be fooled. Yuya-kun is starting to catch up. He is? It looks super one-sided. Haven't you noticed how the rallies are getting longer and longer? Saya, Aki, and I all nod in agreement with one another. The difference is very slight, but the tension in Yuya-kun's face is slowly but surely fading away. With each rally, he's closing the gap a little bit at a time. The tide is still firmly in Keisuke's favor, but that's the dangerous part about playing against Yuya-kun. Speaking from experience, Yuya-kun tends to lag behind until all the pieces fall into place and something clicks. Then all of a sudden, he'll flip a switch and become a completely different player. Strategies that used to work will suddenly turn against you. Shots that he used to struggle with will suddenly get countered as if doing so was his specialty. The guy kills momentum. That sounds exhausting. If it were me dealing with it, I think I'd be so flustered by it that I wouldn't be able to recover. That's exactly the problem. Keisuke's style relies on slowly chipping away at his opponent, lowering their confidence little by little until they can't come back from it anymore. It adds stress little by little until building up momentum, until it starts to feel insurmountable. Yuya-kun is the opposite. He'll suddenly flip your strategy on its head, and the shock from it is so overwhelming that it adds to the stress. It's like comparing a steadily dripping faucet to a pressure washer. And despite the early aggression on Keisuke's part, as Yuya-kun gets more and more used to the pace of the game, Keisuke is slipping back into his usual more reactive strategy. After all, if he keeps attacking recklessly, he'll eventually be the one playing catch-up. Game and first set won by Urushihara 6-3. He's struggling to break Yuya-kun's serve already. The second set is where things are going to start getting dangerous. Come on, Keikun, just keep it up. Just as I expected, the stupid Akita is showing incredibly fast progress. The end of the first set was already more difficult than I anticipated, but from the very start of the second, it feels like playing against a completely different person. Game Kokonose 4-1. From the moment he stepped back into the court for the second set at the end of the rest break, the atmosphere around Kokonose had changed so much it gave me chills. It not only felt like his serve was much heavier than before, but the placement of his shots was much sharper. Whether by dumb luck or skill, it felt as if the ball was being pulled toward the nastiest spots for me by some kind of invisible gravitational field. Not only that, the spin on his ground strokes got so much nastier all of a sudden. Launching a surprise offensive at the start of his first serve was absolutely the best decision possible. If I'm already struggling this much, I don't even want to think what would have happened if I had given him more time to adapt early in the match. The result of the first set might have ended up being completely different. 40-30. Damn it, I barely managed to protect my last service game, but now I'm facing a break point again. If he breaks me for a second time here again, there's nothing I'll be able to do to catch up during this set. With the score as it is right now, breaking my serve would leave him at 5-1. As confident as I might be about my current skill level, I'm not cocky enough to say that I'd be able to break his serve right back and get us to 5-2. Odds are he'd take the second set. Hell, odds still are that he'll take the second set, but I'd rather he not break my serve twice if I can help it. No matter what I do, the end of the second set will define the pace and momentum for the final set. My current situation is already way less than favorable, and it is entirely my fault. Even though my rational mind kept telling me to rein my enthusiasm back in at the start of the second set, I was feeling so high from the confidence boost of winning the first set that I decided to bet on continuing my reckless offensive in an attempt to sweep the whole thing away before giving him a chance to mount a counterattack. Suffice to say, I might be in a much more comfortable situation right now if I'd have been more patient. Yuichi, I think you might be rubbing off on me in ways I did not predict, and right now, that's not exactly a good thing. After taking several seconds to stabilize myself and my psyche, I noticed the umpire looking at his watch. I'm gonna hydrate. Hydration. Knowing that I don't have too long before he gives me a time warning, I toss the ball in the air. So far, I've had the most success with slippery slices. The extra sideways spin along with the low bounce has been putting pressure on Kokonose's knees. He seems to have a slightly higher center of gravity, so having to dip lower to strike the ball negatively affects the strength of his stroke. As predicted, my slices were turned ever so slightly shallow, giving me ample opportunity to attack the ball. However, I can't avoid the feeling of frustration rising inside of me.
Even this strategy that had been working so well is already showing signs of fatigue. I have to think of some kind of countermeasure before I get swallowed up in the Akita's overwhelming pace, but my mind is completely blank right now. I can usually do very solid work even when I'm deprived of air. The feeling of my lungs burning is a surprisingly effective grounding mechanism. It helps me think even when my cognition is drowned by the growing threat of oxygen deprivation. But now, I have nothing. He's too solid. All of his fundamentals are strong. There is no opening to exploit or weakness to pressure. Even his bad habits are being erased at a terrifyingly fast pace. Every potential threat or avenue of attack I can find is quickly exhausted just as soon as I manage to identify it. Although I managed to close the gap between our physical abilities somewhat since we last played, it only serves to make me more aware of how completely abnormal his ability to adapt is. Not only that, but the overly heavy balls are difficult to return steadily, so I've been having to lower the precision of my shots to avoid making a forced error, which only makes it easier for him to press even further. And since they also put a lot of pressure on my wrist with how heavy his attacks are, I'm starting to feel the discomfort mounting up. In a bit of a desperate effort, I shoot a wide-angled shot with as much power as I can muster without much concern for accuracy. As a result, I just barely manage to keep the ball inside the limits of the court. Advantage Urushihara 40 all.
Thank God.
We're only at the second set and I'm already being pushed this hard. What am I supposed to do going forward? I can't keep relying on these kinds of desperate gambits to score. Odds are against me on that. The more I push the envelope, the more errors are bound to appear in my play. And yet, I'm caught in the uncomfortable position of lacking any real choice in the matter. Despite my best efforts to maintain my usual style of play, I am well aware that I'm being steadily edged out. With each step I take and the ever-lengthening rallies feeling like slowly getting strangled, the lack of air depriving me of crucial oxygen I need to maintain peak performance, both physical and mental. There comes a point where it goes past the threshold of what I'm used to dealing with and becomes far too much.
Game Urushihara 5-3.
Thank God! I barely managed to keep this serve too. Odds are that I'll keep this serve here and take the second set. And while that is vexing beyond belief, it is still the ideal outcome at this point. Had I let him break my serve here, I would not only have started the third and final set with the weight of losing the previous one by having my serve broken, but it would also mean that Kokonose would be the one to start the set by serving. If that were to happen, he would quickly bulldoze me. Of that, I am more than certain. As Kokonose is grabbing the balls and stuffing them into his pocket to prepare for his serve game, I finally make up my mind about something. I'm not particularly proud of it, but I've determined that this is a necessary step for me to win at this point. Excuse me, I would like to ask for a medical timeout. I face the umpire, announcing myself as clearly and concisely as possible. The woman, a middle-aged, brown-furred minx, stares at me in surprise, blinking a few times as if she were trying to make sure that she really heard me correctly. On the other hand, I noticed Kokonose stiffening up and dropping the ball that was in his hand when he heard my request. I'm afraid there might be something wrong with my wrist. I've been feeling some throbbing as well as localized numbness. Could I please have it checked out? I put on my best pitiful face while making my request, all the while internally hating myself for it. It's not even like I'm completely lying. It's true that the pressure of Kokonose's heavy shots are placing on my wrist is causing it to get sore and slightly numb, but I'm well aware that it's more fatigue than anything. But at the same time, not being able to properly feel my hand is dangerous no matter how you look at it. Please take a seat so the doctor can assess you. Once he's done checking you out, we'll take a 3-minute break. Thank you. I put on my politest smile while making sure not to look away, regardless of how much I might want to. At least all those stupid lessons on negotiation, crisis management, and etiquette my family forced me through paid off for something. I am more than competent enough at masking my feelings when it comes to this sort of thing. And even when I'm thinking that to myself, the idea alone is enough to send chills down my spine. I hate it. Thankfully, it doesn't take long for one of the venue's doctors to make their way to me. The man kneels down in front of me, asking for permission to examine my hand. He checks my wrist, rotating and squeezing and feeling around it for a few times to make sure there's no serious injury. I had half a mind to pretend to flinch so my bluff wouldn't be too obvious, but it turned out not to be necessary thanks to the soreness I'd been feeling. I guess there was a bright side to how strong Kokonose's ground strokes are after all. At least I don't have to pretend. Doesn't look to be anything serious, probably strain at most. I'll buy some cooling spray to help with the pain, but would you like me to give you a pressure dressing as well? That would be great, thank you. Comprehensive bandages might slightly affect the flexibility of my wrist, but they do take a little while to apply. The more time I have rested and think things through, the better. Besides, taking a break when Kokonose was about to serve is bound to frustrate him, not to mention the chance of breaking his concentration. It's a little dirty, but right now I will take whatever advantage I can get. How's that? Much better. Thank you again. The doctor nods, giving the umpire a signal that he's finished treating me before leaving the court. From there, the umpire quickly announces the start of my 3-minute timeout.
Alright, I'm going to start doing the narration in my normal voice because doing the constant Keisuke voice is, yeah. In the end, I managed to stag myself at least 6 minutes all in all. I was hoping for 10, but that was probably too greedy. I quickly looked back towards where my friends had been standing. It's hard to make out their faces from here, especially with the fence grid obfuscating so much of it. But at least they don't seem to be judging me or anything. I wish I could get a good look at Yuichi. I know it would help to calm me right now. No, deep breath, Keisuke. You can't let the pressure get to you. Thankfully, the cold sensation really does wonders with my wrist. I initially only asked for the medical timeout as a technicality to get myself time to catch my breath and come up with some kind of strategy. But it turns out that I might have needed a bit more than I thought. From now, I'll simply focus on putting up as much resistance as I can during Kokinose's serve game. The odds of me being able to break his serve are small. Not that I won't take it if I see the chance, but it's best for me to save any further strategies, not to mention my energy, for it will likely be the final set. The main concern right now is mostly to avoid losing too badly so that the momentum won't carry over in a way that might damage my chances in the long run. I close my eyes, taking multiple deep breaths. Not only does it help to calm me down, but I need to fill my lungs with as much air as I can. Proper breathing is the key to maintaining my endurance until the end of this match. Things will be really difficult if I let that go out of control. Yeah, if it works, it works. Just remember the tips Mizuguchi-san gave you about breath control. Time's up. Both players please return to the court. I let all extraneous thoughts and concerns wash away from me once and for all. This last game probably won't last that long. Once it's over, I'll have another 2-minute break between the end of this set and the start of the next. And while the rest will surely help me out, I can't forget that Kokonose also got time to rest as well. I have to be prepared to put all of me on the line for the third set if I want to win. I promised Yuichi I would meet him in the finals, and I absolutely refuse to be made into a liar in front of my boyfriend. I was a little worried when Keisuke suddenly asked for a medical timeout. And I wasn't the only one. A quick look around me made it pretty obvious where the rest of the group stood on the matter. Shoichi had a sour look on his face. Sai-chan suddenly went pale. Jun seemed to be on the edge of a panic attack, and Aki looked like he was going to be sick. Hell, I felt I was going to be sick. Didn't help things out when Keisuke said he thought it was an old wrist injury acting up. I immediately remembered the time he got hurt a few months ago during a practice with me and started feeling guilty and panicked. But the issue seemed to be more or less minor. His play didn't seem to be affected in any way, and we all exhaled a collective sigh of relief. You don't think he did it on purpose, do you? Yes. You don't exactly call for medical timeout by accident, unless you pass out and the umpire calls for timeout instead. Not that! I meant whether or not he faked it. What, fake an injury to take care of a medical timeout? No way. Keisuke isn't that kind of player. You say it like it's a bad thing. I'd do it. What? You? Mr. Goody Two-Shoes would manipulate the rules to get an unjust advantage to your side? You're not serious. Sure does look it. I mean, he did seem like he was feeling a little bit of pain, but didn't look like it was enough to call a medical timeout. I know the feeling, though. Strong players tend to make my wrists hurt a lot, too. You all wouldn't last 2 seconds playing volleyball where the super fast ball actually hits your body instead of a dinky little racket. There's merits to both sports. You can't really compare it. How can you guys play like this? I'm feeling out of breath just watching them. Jun-san, that's because you're holding your breath all the time. I am? I love you, Jun. The second set already was plenty agonizing to watch, but this third one is unbearable. Keisuke managed to hold onto his ground more firmly this time around, but every single rally is going on for at least 8 shots or more. Something very weird is going on here. Keisuke's fine control and diverse shot repertoire have been slowly slipping. His strategies have been getting more and more simple, and the sharpness is all but gone from his play. If this keeps going, just as I was thinking that, Yuya-kun hits a winner, successfully holding his serve for the 5th time this set. Game Kokonose 5-5. Damn it. If Keikun had managed to break his serve here, the match would be over. From the way this has been going, it looks like they'll go into a tiebreak. I nod in agreement. I really wish it wasn't the case, but I'm also having a hard time imagining any other outcome. The longer this match drags on for, the more delicate Keisuke's situation becomes. He could still keep his serve and break Yuya for a 7-5 win, but I somehow doubt that's going to happen. Come on, Keisuke, it's hard to even breathe. You're killing me here. Keisuke continues hanging back, remaining steadfast and steady in his position as the reactive party in the match. While Yuya-kun is constantly pressing in an attempt to pry open an opening he can take advantage of, Keisuke is trying his best to keep up a defensive wall and outlast the Akita during the rallies. Game Urushihara 6-5. Please change court sides. thank God. Even Shoichi, despite all the earlier trash talking, is clearly tense. His fingers are gripping the links of the fence so tightly that his hand is white from the lack of circulation. I quickly think to mention it, but the thought is pushed away from my mind as soon as the players step back into the court at the end of their court change timeout. Come on, this has been putting an insane amount of pressure on Yuya-kun, right? There's no way he's not feeling it right now. One set each with a final set on 6-5. He has to hold his serve, otherwise he loses. That's a whole lot of pressure right there. Just struggle a little bit, show off some kind of opening. Something. And yet, as soon as the rally begins, it's very clear that there is no change whatsoever. Neither side is budging. Keisuke puts up a valiant effort, but the advantage Yuya-kun has from serving is too much to be surpassed right now. Akita steadily gets the points he needs. Keisuke manages to equalize at 15-15, but Kokonose then scores 3 points in a row to claim back his serve game. Game Kokonose 6-6. We will now begin the tiebreak. I can't breathe. Keisuke-san. I close my eyes, placing a hand on my chest to try and steady my breathing. The sound of the ball being struck back and forth makes me whimper every time. Just like June, it seems I've been holding my breath while watching, and it's starting to get to me. I can't watch anymore. This is too much. I feel sick. I can't watch Keisuke lose. It's fine. Saichan's sudden confident declaration snaps me back to reality, mostly out of sheer shock. What's with you three? He got to tiebreak. You're all acting like he's already lost. Some friends you are. Shoichi. Amid the wave of concern and nausea going through our group, Saichan and Shoichi alone stand strong, their faces contorted into looks of extreme focus. You know Rushihara better than anyone. You know that guy's stubborn as a fucking mule. Why the hell are you looking away? He promised you he'd win, so at least have the decency to watch his match until the end instead of throwing in the towel. He hasn't given up, so you don't have the right to either. The words make Aki, Jun, and I shrink back where we stand. It's true, I'd completely given up. I treated the tiebreak like a loss. After all, if Keisuke has barely been managing to score points during Yuya-kun's serve games, while Yuya-kun has been dragging him to deuces every time on his... What chances does Keisuke have? A tiebreak would clearly favor Yuya-kun, right? But looking back at the court, Keisuke doesn't seem to be fazed at all. In fact, upon closer examination, he seems to be leading? It's slight, but the momentum seems to be favoring Keikun right now. Just a few minutes ago, he seemed to be struggling to hold on, but now he's suddenly pushed back and has reclaimed his territory. What's going on? I should have noticed sooner. Noticed? Noticed what? Didn't you notice how Urushihara lost so much ground in the third set? Even during the second set, despite his opponent being so far ahead, Urushihara was pushing back hard. Almost every one of Kokonose's serve games would get drawn out into multiple deuces. Then all of a sudden, that stops for the final set. So? Keikun did it on purpose. Huh? What do you mean? This is just a theory, but I think he pretended to be overwhelmed when Kokonose was serving. He still did his best during his own serve game, since he couldn't afford to have his serve broken, but he held back the rest of the time. I think he was trying to lull Kokonose into a false sense of security, make him think he had the advantage and could keep his serve easily. Plus, it also had the added benefit of letting Keikun rest a little. If his opponent was going at 120% the entire time, while Keikun only put his all into his own serve games, he would eventually expend less of his energy than Kokonose-kun. So, how does that help him if he can't break? Because he was banking on a tiebreak, you dolt. What? I look back at the court once again. I finally decide to look at Yuya-kun instead of only watching Keisuke. It's only then that I realize Yuya-kun looks completely bewildered. His face is stuck in a mix of shock and frustration. All before he was managing to score easily when serving, Keisuke was now suddenly putting a whole lot of resistance to him. Even that slight shift due to being built up gradually for a whole set is enough to cause a noticeable change in Yuya-kun's playstyle. He's panicking. He's trying to rush in and opening himself up for counters. The match is still dragging on a lot, but Keisuke's advantage is slowly increasing. Point for Urushihara, 14-13. That score hurts to look at. They're almost at 30 points in the tiebreak alone. That's exhausting to look at. But holy shit, Keisuke is serving now. He's leading by 1 point and he's serving now. I think this is what he was looking for. It is so anime right now. Keisuke grips the ball tightly in his hand. He tosses it high in the air, moving his body in the traditional serve motion. With one quick motion, he swings the racket upward to meet the ball and misses. My eyes go wide for a moment, thinking that he messed up his serve, but then it happens. As if it had been completely intentional, Keisuke twists his body to hit the ball upward just before it could hit the ground. Instead of hitting a traditional serve, he faked it out. He pretended to go for a regular serve and instead hit an underhand serve. Yukun's eyes go wide. He was about to dash forward when he saw Keisuke miss his serve, causing him to come to an abrupt stop, only for the hair to then hit an underhand serve that barely went above the net. Nikita goes into a mad dash in an attempt to get to the ball, throwing himself forward to reach it just before it has the opportunity to bounce twice by the net. Taps the ball up at the very last second, only for the ball to fly straight into the net. The entire crowd falls silent. Neither of the players moves. In fact, the only movement comes from the ball as it rolls away. For several seconds, there is nothing but silence. Hare and Akita both stare at each other between labored breaths, waiting for something, anything to break the impasse. The end comes all too swiftly. Game, set, and match won by Arushihara. Count 6-3, 3-6, 7-6. Woo! With the deadlock finally broken as if being snapped out of a spell, the crowd erupts into cheers and clapping. My brain struggles to comprehend what I just saw, but the excitement takes over me before I can even attempt to. Before I notice it, I'm clapping and screaming from the top of my lungs. Next to me, Saya, Shoichi, Jun, and Aki follow suit, all screaming congratulations and words of encouragement. Yuya-kun eventually gets up from the floor, his eyes glued to the floor and his tail between his legs. Under the loud, continuous ovation, the players shake hands, bringing this titanic battle to an end. That was, without a doubt, one of the best matches I've ever witnessed in the U18 circuit. And when Keisuke finally steps out of the court, I'm the first to meet him at the door. Hey, As soon as the hair shows up in front of me, I pull him into a tight hug.
Yuichi, hello? I know you're happy, but can you let go of me, please? It's hard to breathe like this.
I ignore his protests, continuing to hold him for what I know is a suspicious amount of time. Right now, I don't care.
Yuichi, everyone's looking at us. Get a grip.
He taps my back a few times to draw my attention. Only then do I finally let him go. Thankfully, it seems the excitement is at an all-time high, so much so that no one thinks twice of my weirdly long hug. Saya, Jun, Aki, and even Shoichi all take turns hugging and congratulating Keisuke.
Thanks, everyone. Did anyone see Kokonose?
He left through the other exit.
Ah, I see. Oh, here comes Coach and the others. Man, I'm tired.
Keisuke suffers through the continuous round of applause and congratulations from friends and strangers alike. I eventually notice his legs shaking. He's so tired that he can barely stay on his feet. I definitely sympathize. Thankfully, it doesn't take too long before we can get on our way back to the hotel. A few hours later, I am lying here on my futon, staring up at the ceiling while completely failing to fall asleep. Despite how tired I feel, I have this feeling as if my body were weirdly vibrating. It's hard to relax. Next to me, Kei-kun shifts around repeatedly on his own futon, evidently also struggling to find restful sleep.
Hey, are you awake?
Mm-hmm.
Today was exhausting.
It sure was. After getting back to the hotel, we wasted no time in setting up a mini celebration. While having Sai and I get to the final day of the competition isn't really that big of a surprise. Keisuke's match was the highlight of the day for the whole competition. It would have felt wrong not to. Shoichi and Jun went out to buy food and came back with a mountain of sushi, juice, and soda. There was a small tinge of awkwardness thanks to so many of our clubmates having been eliminated today. And by so many, I meant everyone but the three of us. Sai-chan seemed a little downcast because of it. Apparently none of the girls wanted to stick around in the hotel for the night and elected to go home instead, meaning Sai would be left alone in her room for the last night of the competition. I can definitely understand how it would be a complicated feeling. For most of our celebration, Keisuke struggled to stay awake, leaning against my shoulder and dozing off multiple times in between getting prodded with questions as well as attempts from Shoichi to include him in the conversation. Once it started getting dark outside, though, the three visitors had to pack up and leave, quickly helping us clean the mess we made before they left to take the train back to Saitama. After that, I quickly helped Keisuke take a bath, as well as watch over and make sure he wouldn't fall asleep in the hot water, and we turned in for bed. You could barely stay awake when we were having dinner, but now you can't sleep? How weird is that?
I know, it's infuriating.
I stick my hand out of the futon, digging it under Keisuke's to grab his hand, squeezing it gently and stroking the back of it with my thumb for encouragement.
Thanks.
You're amazing out there today.
I tried my best. I do feel a little icky, though. First the medical timeout, and then that final underhand serve. I feel like I don't deserve the win.
So the medical timeout was faked?
I used a loophole where I could find one. It's scummy, I know, but I was desperate.
Well, I don't like the idea all that much, but Shoichi said he'd have done the same thing, so maybe it's just me.
I'm not surprised. Yuata is definitely the type to try to get a victory at all costs, and it's not technically cheating.
I just hope you know that people like you are why the rules around timeouts are keep getting tightened in the professional circuit.
Yeah, you don't have to remind me.
Have to? What's that? Since when you talk with that kind of accent?
Crap, I think a little bit of Kyoshi-san just came out.
I laugh. The idea of Keisuke talking like in that kind of dialect like that weird lizard is so absurd that I can't help it.
Don't laugh, that's mean.
I'm sorry. It's just... I decided to completely abandon my futon instead of climbing into Keisuke's. I wrap my arms tightly around my hair, pulling him close to me so I can push my nose against his cheek and nuzzle him.
Oh God, your nose. Your nose is cold and wet.
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
It's fine. You're a goober.
Dunno what that is, but I'll take it as a compliment.
It was.
Keisuke turns around, shifting his body so we are both lying on our sides, facing each other. His face is just a few centimeters away from mine, close enough that I can feel his breath on my face.
Hey, Yuichi.
Yeah?
I love you.
I love you too. Hair quickly leans forward to kiss me, reducing the distance between us to 0 as his lips press up to mine, making my chest once again flutter with happiness and content. After that, I quickly pull him in closer, letting Keisuke rest his nose under my chin and against my neck. By the way, I was wondering about something. I know you said you'd let it be my decision since you didn't care one way or the other, so... Do you think we can tell the others about us once we get back home from the competition? If we're already at the I love you stage, I feel like it's time.
Whatever you want.
Really? You don't mind?
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, I was worried you wouldn't be okay with it. Keisuke? I try calling out to him, but all I hear is a soft, steady rhythm of Keisuke's breathing. So you fell asleep, huh? That was fast. Guess cuddling was the right idea after all. It's kind of cute. I decide to follow suit, closing my eyes in the hopes that sleep will find me a little easier this time. With the warmth, the comfort, the soft hair fur pressed up against me, the quiet humming sound of his breathing. Slowly but surely, sleep finally overtakes me. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! We are now moving on to June's route. Tomorrow. I am actually a little tired right now, but I still gotta edit yesterday's VOD. It won't take me too long, and after that I'm probably gonna go to bed. Right? That's exactly how it feels. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Keisuke's route, but it's just so long. Granted, there is a lot of content from there, but I'm getting sidetracked. Anyways, stay safe, have a good night, and I will see you all tomorrow.